Melissa, welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Oh, I'm great, James. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, no worries. Can you tell the listeners where you're based?
Yes, I am in the big Toronto, Ontario, Canada, where currently, I don't know when this will air, but currently it's quite riveting here with the Blue Jays. So here we are. I mean, I'm not really following it, to be honest, because it just makes my commute longer on the way home. But everyone else is very excited.
When does the final game potentially be played? Because this might go out near towards that. I'm not sure what the timeline is.
Well, James, you're asking the wrong person, but I know they've played game two. So,
Oh, okay.
isn't it 7 games? So you tell
Yeah,
me.
2 weeks? Nah, probably
Yep,
not. I think by the
something.
time this comes
Yep,
out, we'll know if they've won or not.
we will know.
But how long's it been? It must be decades, right? I keep hearing about it.
I mean, the last time I remember was 93, I think.
Oh,
1993. But I could
wow.
be totally wrong, but that's my last big memory of seeing them all
Mm.
celebrating on the field.
Oh, okay. And are you from Toronto originally?
I grew up in a small town about an hour and 15 minutes northeast of Toronto. I've lived here now for about just over 20 years, but I've lived in other parts of Canada. I was in Montreal for school. I lived in Jasper for my crazy
Mm.
wild years from 18 to 21, which were way too much fun. I lived in Victoria on Vancouver Island, and I lived in Barrie, Ontario, which may not be familiar to some people, and now here in Toronto.
Okay. Have you been
Yep.
tempted by living east, like further east?
It's so funny that you just said that because I was in PEI at the
Yeah.
beginning of the month in Charlottetown, and I could move there in a heartbeat. So it's not, it's not off my radar at the moment. I would love to also live in Quebec City. I spent 5 weeks there in
Yeah.
2023, and I really love it. So yes, I do feel a very big pull to the east, to be honest. I love the mountains of the west, but I like the lifestyle and the people and the culture of the east quite a bit. So I'm ready
Mm.
to make a move, possibly. I think I've done my time here in Toronto, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think PEI is a little pipe dream, really. We went on a road trip across Canada, and I just remember green fields, the most amazing beaches,
Yeah.
Charlottetown, of course, and also great potatoes that were picked up on the road. So for me,
Sounds
that's
like
enough.
PEI. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a magical place and it's so beautiful.
Yeah, very small town, though, isn't it? If you're used to that.
It's a bit of a small town, but in some ways I might be ready for that again. I mean,
Mm.
Toronto is really like a big city composed of small towns, so you find your pockets. But
Yeah.
yeah, who knows, right? Change is good. I think it's time, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about growing up, your early memories of travel.
So I would say the biggest thing that happened to me as a little kid was when I was 7, we moved to Australia for a year. So my dad was a teacher at the time, and we did a teacher's exchange, which I don't know how common that is anymore, but this was 1981. So it was, you know, common for some, not common
Hmm.
for everyone. So yeah, we exchanged houses and we went and lived in this very small town. I wouldn't even call it a town really at the time, called Stone outside of Perth. And we had to take like a bush path to get to school. And our school was in the middle of just wilderness. There were
Wow.
portables and like little buildings and surrounded by like jungle and trees and all that kind of fun stuff. So that was pretty huge. My dad hid tape recorders all around the house because we developed Australian accents because we were so young. So I had a very strong accent by the time I got back to Canada. And we did quite a lot of adventures in that year. We went to Bali. No one was going to Bali at that
Yeah.
time. There was
Dream
nobody
time.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We rented a van and drove around New Zealand and drove around most of Australia. We didn't get to the Northern Territory because it's a very big country, but I would say that was pretty huge for me as a little kid, just seeing that life can happen elsewhere. And, as kids do, when my parents told us we were going, we cried and tried to fight it. And a
Mm.
year later, when we were coming home, we didn't want to come back. So, you adjust and life carries on. And my dad, we've often said, if we'd stayed longer, do you think we would have ever come back? And he said, absolutely not. Like we'd all just
Oh,
adjusted, right?
yeah,
You find your way.
yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty big.
Yeah, I think Australia is my favorite place that I've lived in. And I think it has something special about it that kind of hooks you a little bit. But what I'm intrigued by is I think the English Australian connection is obvious. When you grow up, you kind of think, oh, yeah, if we go down under, it's going to be sun, it's going to be beach, it's a different lifestyle, right? And you earn more money over there. But I'm
Mhm.
intrigued by the Canadian Australian relationship because I don't see the work permit either way as the most popular one. I think a lot of Kiwis come here to Canada and a lot of Brits come here. Also, a lot of Irish come here as well. But I don't tend to see it go the other way for Australians and Canadians. I don't know why that is, or I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But what do you think about that?
I think a lot of Canadians actually used to go to Australia for their year off. I think that's very
Yeah.
common. Maybe it's not as common now, I don't know, but back in my day, that was a big thing.
Mm,
And many people I know have done that. But I think Australians come here for the winter, right? I mean, I
yeah.
I knew a lot of Aussies out west who wanted to ski and take
Hmm.
advantage of all that kind of stuff, but I don't have a ton of Aussie connections in Toronto, I'll tell you that. I don't think they're flocking
Mm.
here for this lifestyle, but
This is what I mean. Like, if you take skiing out of it and snowboarding, I actually
yeah.
don't see for Australians maybe the appeal because unless you're going to love snow in winter and you're going to be prepared to do that without the skiing and snowboarding, like what's the appeal?
Yeah, totally, you're right, and, I think our cultures are very similar, like, to be honest,
Mm,
I have no desire to go back there. My brother and sister went back as teenagers after high school and traveled Australia again, which was pretty cool for them. They were older
yeah.
than me, so they still had friends and but I've just never felt the desire to see it because it just I mean, apart from the landscape and the weather, I don't feel like the people are that different, and so
Mm.
it just doesn't pull me.
I think for me, it's just a lot. It's just the weather. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a classic British thing to say, but like the beach, the weather, especially Perth. I'm like, oh yeah,
yeah,
I could live there for a bit, but I appreciate it's quite far away from anywhere,
yeah. Well,
like
that's okay
anywhere at
too.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the British Australian thing is the old versus new world, isn't it? I think Australians like
Yeah,
going back to get to the old world, and they love going to London. Like when I live in London, there's so many Australians there. I'm like, why are you here? I don't understand. But hey, you don't
well,
think your own country's that good, do you? That's why you go.
yeah, and they're everywhere, Aussies, right? Because they
Oh
are
no,
so
yeah,
far away that they just do it as much as they can for as long as they can.
and they can always go back. That's the
Yeah,
advantage, right?
yeah.
So aside from the Australia trip, which is very young for you, was there a
Uh-huh.
trip when you were a teenager or starting to become an adult where you thought, do you know what, travel could be the thing that I might want to pursue more when I'm older?
I always loved just going away. My dad really encouraged us to do things. In the summertime, I did exchanges in Quebec. I did a summer school there that was actually a lot of fun. Too much fun. I went to Belgium in high school on exchange. I moved to Jasper when I was 18, so there was always that encouragement to do things and not to do them with your friends, to go and meet new
Yeah,
people. So that I think was always a part of me. And then I moved around a lot around Canada, all those places I listed. That was like from the age of 18 to 22, 25. I mean, I was constantly searching for something, it sounds like. But then it really I think I was 29 actually when I went on my first kind of adventure travel experience to
ah,
Costa Rica, and after that it
yeah,
was game over. I was hooked. So yeah,
wow.
I always kind of loved to do things, but then it became a big part of my life after that.
So in that period in Canada, were you just trying to find work and maybe somewhere to live that you liked? Was that the idea, or what was the reason? Were you trying to work in travel or the tourism industry, or it's just a different place to live in Canada? Like, what was the? the thinking
Yeah,
behind that?
good question. I mean, when I was 18, I was working in hotels. I was a chambermaid, I was a busser, I worked in restaurants, I worked in bed and breakfasts and little
Mm.
hotels and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't really ever think about pursuing it at the time. I was just partying a lot and having a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Later in life, I thought about it. I actually worked at a hotel in Toronto for a little bit. Didn't love it, but it was just the wrong fit. But I don't know. I think, yeah, when I was younger, there was just a lot of trying to figure out what I was all about, who I was, where I was going. And it was that mistake a little bit of thinking that um, it was the surroundings that were the problem, and if I went to this town or this city, I would feel better, or this would be fixed, or whatever. So there was that was probably what was going on, if I can be honest, in that
Mm.
time period. And then I figured out that it was me. Didn't matter where I went, I was still with me, and I had to figure myself out. But I did love it. I mean, I loved living in the mountains in Jasper. That will always be near and dear to my heart. Montreal for school had its ups and downs for me, but as a whole, I that is my favorite place. That province of
Mhm.
Quebec is absolutely my favorite. So yeah, I mean, it's not always the easiest time, but I do feel fortunate that I got to experience life in Canada in those places. And who knows, as we were saying earlier, there might be more of that to come. Maybe further east. Here we go.
Yeah, I do remember Johnny Bilby, sorry, on my podcast. He came on. He owns Wild Frontiers. They're like a tour group in the UK, quite a high end tour group. But he had a 10-year trip that was more about grieving than anything else because his
Mhm.
partner at the time died whilst they're traveling right in India. And he
Oh.
said to me, or I asked him, like, why do you think people, or why should they go traveling, or what should they not expect? And he said something like, don't expect travel is going to cure you or make you better. He said you have to work on yourself for that. You can't just go to a different place around the world because that'll be a short-term fix, but eventually it'll just catch up with you every time.
You know, it's so funny because people who don't really travel or go away on big trips still always say to me, "Oh, are you a new person? Are you a different person? Did you have all these epiphanies? Did it change your life?" And it's like, it's not really like that. For me, it's not really
No.
like that because half the time you're in survival mode, um, trying to like figure it out and experience it and be in the moment. And there's sometimes not really that's not really the time for that. It's when you
Hmm.
come home that I feel you take a pause and then it hits you. Or I mean, certainly you have moments there that are enlightening or that you
Yeah.
feel really great about whatever you're experiencing or who you are as a person, or you learn something about yourself. But for me, overall, it's not like you're having one epiphany after another when you're on the road. It's not, it's such a myth.
I think that's a big myth. Yeah. It took me 10 years to realize that, I think. I think for
Yeah.
me, the 10-year decade of like dotting around on work visas in different countries and then get a job, normally a shit job,
Yeah.
work, save, go again, quit. That repeat thing was good. But then it gets to a point like, well, what's the aim apart from seeing all these amazing places that it can't really sustain? And it just
Mm-mm.
comes down to really like if you're not well off or haven't got any money, you're going to need money going forward, aren't you? So what is the
Yeah.
job that you want to do, which is not going to be something you're not interested in? So I think that
Yeah.
was a switch for me when I first came back from the big trip in 2023, which is a year. I think the mindset shifted maybe from like a bit of immaturity to maturity, like, okay, I need to figure this out because I still want to
Mm.
travel long term, but you can't keep doing it on work permits because they run out after a certain age. And then the whole process of getting another job, quitting, that gets a bit
Uh-huh.
tiresome after a while. See, I think people go through these phases. It's not like an epiphany. It's just like a realistic age
Mhm.
thing where you get to a point going, do you know what? I want this to continue, but I can't live off all my money and then start again from zero. It
Mm-mm.
just gets a bit too much.
Oh my God, yeah, it's exhausting. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
exhausting.
don't think
Yeah.
people don't want to hear that though, right? They want to,
Mm.
the people who don't do this want to imagine that it's just like you're tripping through the daisies every day, all day, everything's wonderful. It's like, okay. It's
And
not really like
oh,
that.
it's not like that. I think 2023, I describe it as if you base it on travel, yeah, great year, achieved a lot. If you based it on business, I failed big time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, both are great in their own ways
Yeah.
because I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not all the be all of travel. I think the social media thing is about when you see like these people say, just quit your job and go. It's like, yeah, I get that maybe in your 20s, but
Yeah.
that can't sustain after a while.
Totally. And I also feel like for me, and we can talk more about this, and actually this is even how my book came to be. If I'm not if I don't have a purpose on a trip, if
Hmm.
it's after 3 weeks, I am in trouble because it doesn't it's not interesting after all. It's interesting, but if you don't have a purpose or a point, after all, it's just like you're just kind of like hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
And I need more than that, and I learned that maybe not the hard way, but I learned that definitely. This book that I wrote, The People You Meet, is the main heading, although there's a fabulous subtitle. We'll talk about that in a minute. I was with somebody who we were on a I was there for 4 months on this trip, and he was researching luxury travel routes, right? Like not the
Okay.
routes, but hotels and
Mm.
things to do, whatever. Trust me, 90% of the time we were not staying in luxury hotels. We were staying in, what you stay in, backpacker stuff.
Yeah.
But the 10% was luxury, and it was welcome because sometimes it was pretty dicey.
Hmm.
But he had a mission. He was like, I need to see this place and this place. And we went on
Mm.
hotel tours and whatever. But I was just along for the ride, which is fine. I love anyone that's going to plan a trip for me because I hate trip planning. I will go on anything anyone wants me to do, but I do not like doing the research. I mean, if you have to, you have to, but it's fun when someone does it for you. So after about a month or so, I was just like, I was really restless. And so that's how this book came to be, because I was sitting on, 36-hour trains and buses and whatever. And I started creating these stories in my head of everything that I was seeing and doing. So that was back in the day where you had we didn't have phones. There was like you'd
Mm.
go to the internet cafe once a week if you could find one, or if you were lucky to have a
Yeah.
computer in your
Yeah.
hotel.
Computer. Yeah.
Yeah. The good old days, really, in so many ways.
Yep.
And so I was sending these emails, and then that gave me purpose, like that sort of crafting these stories. And then I felt like I was actually, okay, there's a reason that I'm here. And it actually changes everything. You start seeing things differently. You see the story, you see what this person is bringing to your experience. And if I hadn't done that, I don't know, I would probably have ended up in some bar, like for the rest of my life. Like, you need a purpose. I really believe that. That's why I think people are doing more digital nomad work or volunteering
Mm.
more, or they're finding a reason to go to places, because we're just not meant to hang out after a certain point, you know?
It's so
I don't know if
interesting you
you
say
feel like
that.
that.
No, I do. Yeah, I said to my partner last night, or was it Saturday maybe? I said I think I'm done with just wandering around. So winging
Totally.
it as a concept is literally that. I would traditionally never research. I'll just turn up, probably speak to the hostel or the hotel owner or people who work there, like, what can I do in this place? Which is fine. I used to love that. But now I'm a little bit sort of tired of that. I think I do need a purpose. And where I was going with it when I was talking to Emma was more about the YouTube perspective, because I do YouTube as well. I was like, well, the YouTube needs a story. So, like, what is a story?
Mhm.
And I used to like almost cringe about mixing YouTube and content and travels, because like you're kind of forcing yourself to do something. But actually, when you think about it, the story is the purpose. So I'm like, oh, if I'm going to
Yeah.
go to a place around the world, it has to be a specific angle or purpose for me, and not just turn up and wing
Yeah.
it, which I did in Europe a few weeks ago. And I was like, I loved the week break, because I had a week of doing no podcast, no YouTube, no nothing, just like wandering around. But actually, when I looked at it, I was slightly bored at the end of
Yeah.
it, because it's just like, it is just wandering around seeing things, isn't it? Which is great. But I think there's a shelf life to that. So I need to do something that's a bit more purposeful. Yeah,
Big
for
time.
sure.
And you just stop seeing things. You're seeing things, but you're not seeing things after a while. So
Mm.
yeah, I can completely relate to that.
Yeah, so the wandering around, just winging it. I think there's a time and place. If you're like super busy for like a period of time, you just need a break, like a little mini
Yeah.
holiday, then yeah,
Yeah.
I can do that for a weekend. But I
Yeah.
can't do it for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. I think those days are over as well.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it
Yeah.
awesome to get older and to mature?
But interestingly, I've got a Bhutan trip coming up, and you
Oh,
can't go
cool.
there and wing it anyway, because you have to book a tour. So this
Mhm.
is new for me. I don't do tours that much. I
Mm.
think I've done one, maybe two in the past. But I'm like,
Mm.
oh, they have to give you a tour guide and a driver. That's the rules, right? You pay your fee and that's it. But like they're going to curate it for me, so I just tell them what my interests are, and we're going to do activities every day, which is great. Someone's going to plan that. I have
Mm.
no idea really where I'm going, so I'm like, oh, that's a different kind of travel. Bit of purpose in
Yeah.
there, bit of unknown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? The combo is very good. I've done a lot of group stuff, group
Mm.
tours. I've done a lot of that. I've done, solo, of course, traveled with a partner, but I do like doing the group stuff for many reasons. One is if you only have like 2 or 3 weeks sometimes and you're working a lot, it's very nice that someone's doing
Yep.
that for you.
Yep.
If you go with the right company too, they always built in like independent time. You don't have to be with people all the time.
Yes.
Sometimes you're only with like 10 or 11 people, sometimes 14. Um, but you do some awesome things, and you do things that you may not find on your own. And I just love the camaraderie. Like, you're not going to love everybody, but
Hmm.
you're with people that are like-minded and are there for the same reasons that you are. And that's like a game changer, right? When
Yeah.
you hit the ground running socially with people like that. But yeah, there is certainly something to be said for taking the pain out of like planning things if you just don't have the time, and they can be really great. And you can like get that combo of like solo freedom to explore and then hooking up with people. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. I created a tour for next year, which I'm going to lead actually in El Salvador. By the time this goes out, it will be on sale, so that'd be pretty cool. But I was very cognizant of the fact that I want to include a lot of activities, but actually you do need a bit of free time for the group to hang out and maybe get to know each other, right? So I had to like mix that in and try and get the right balance. I think I've got the right balance. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Um, but when I was
that's
looking at tours,
awesome.
like, oh yeah, that's not bad. Like we are doing stuff every day. There's a mix of
Yeah.
different activities. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's quite cool. And I'll be keen to see if I like leading it with a co-tour leader in El Salvador. Let's see how that goes. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it or not, but give it a go.
Do you speak Spanish? You must.
A tiny bit, yeah,
Okay. Does your
yeah.
co-leader speak Spanish?
Oh, he'll be a local, yeah, on the ground.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
That will be
So,
fun. I think like the worst part of group travel for me is the constant meals, like having to eat with people every night. So I love
uh,
that sort of freedom to be like come or don't come and nobody cares. Because I think that the activities are fun to do with people. It's very
yeah.
bonding. And like I was in Colombia in December on a tour, and I laughed for 3 weeks with like a few Germans and a couple Brits, and it was amazing. So I don't know. It is what it is for people, but it's like, yeah, that when you feel like you have to be with people 24/7, that's a challenge. But when
Mm.
you know that you're going to have your moments here or there, and you can eat by yourself if you want to, or eat with one other person, that really helps. Like just not having to be with everybody all the time.
Oh, interesting. I put in 5 meals out of 10 nights. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
I think that's a good ratio. Yeah,
Perfect.
just to give
Yeah.
people a bit of a break. And I think I probably need a break just to
Oh,
recalibrate.
yes, you will.
Yeah, so I'm
Yes.
intrigued to see how it goes. Yeah, if I can sell it. Yeah, it's with Intrepid, so that'd
Ah,
be
yes.
interesting.
Well, they're very good. And El
Yeah,
Salvador is a pretty hot place right now. People are very
yeah,
interested in it, so that's great timing.
yeah. I went there last year as a solo person to check it out. So
Um,
the itinerary is basically what I did with a few things chucked in that I've learnt about.
oh,
So we'll
that's
see.
great. Well,
Yeah.
I would love to go, so let me know when your trip is ready.
It's almost ready. 2 days away. Okay. Before we get to international travel, I did want to dip into Canada, as we're both living in Canada. And you mentioned all those places. Is there any place in Canada that's on your list that you haven't been to?
Yes, I have not been to Newfoundland yet.
Ah,
So, have
same.
you been?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to do Gross Mourne and whatever other hikes I could do there, but I am so intrigued by Newfoundland, but it needs time. I don't want to just go for
Mm.
like a week or two. I feel like you need a month, actually, from what I hear,
Oh,
to
wow.
really see it properly. I mean, not everyone has that luxury,
Yeah.
but it's a big place, and I don't know. I think there's a lot to see there. So that's certainly on my list. I've never been to the Yukon. I've never been to
Oh,
the
okay.
Northwest Territories, so that I'm still missing a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's certainly, and this is the thing about Canada. Every time I travel around Canada, it's so beautiful, And then I think, why am I going anywhere else? Like, why do I not just keep checking out new things in my own country?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's very exciting to go to new places, but it's just that awe of this country. I think it's so stunning, and there's so many places to see that we will never see because it's too big.
And I think I see on social media, like the Rockies, for example. I think the joke is, why are people booking Europe to go and see the Alps when the Rockies is just there?
I get this a lot. I was in Italy in the summer hiking in the Dolomites,
Yeah.
and then years ago I did the Tour de Mont Blanc around like France, Italy, Switzerland. And a lot of people were like, what are you doing here? You're a Canadian. But to
Yeah.
be honest, what I do like about hiking in Europe is that there's no bears.
No bears. I know. I knew you were going to say that.
So
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Canada,
No,
but
that's true.
I got enough stresses when I'm on a hiking trip. I don't need
Yeah.
that.
It's so true. Like, people don't understand. Like, they wander
Yeah,
down here in Northam occasionally in the summer, just down to the
yeah.
suburbs and in people's bins. Like, it is a thing,
Oh yeah, it's a
and they're
thing for
huge.
sure.
Yeah.
They're huge. I remember in Jasper, I went for a run one night and it looked like a grizzly to me, crossed right like in front of my path. And I was like, oh, time to go home. It's really scary.
Yeah, it is. That is a
Hmm.
problem. Like, when you like hike in New Zealand, for example, which is very similar to BC. It's like, oh yeah, the thing that probably annoys you the most is probably the midges, the little
Oh, yeah.
itchy things that bite you all the time. But there's no threat of any like big predator, right? But
Yeah.
here, you just got to be aware, and I don't think you
Yeah.
can ever really relax. I don't know how people do it, like backcountry hiking and camping. How do you relax when there's like bears like pretty much down the road? I don't understand it.
Yeah, and a lot of people that do these things, like I interviewed a woman years ago. Her name's Lee McAdam. She lives in, well, she used to live in Calgary. She has a site called Hike Bike Travel. She's phenomenal, has been everywhere doing those
Mm.
things all over Canada, all over the world. And she hikes constantly in Alberta, in BC, and has barely ever seen a bear on her trip. I mean, she's been doing this for decades, but I feel like that would not be my luck.
Yeah,
And
yeah, same.
that's where like a group comes in handy, right? And
Yeah.
someone that knows what you need to do, because they all school you. Oh, if it's this kind of
Mm.
bear, do this. If it's this kind of bear, it's like, are you kidding me? Like in the moment, I am not going to remember what bear I'm dealing with and what to do.
Oh, it's just my friend was out for a dog walk the other day, and there's a bear just there in Port
Oh, oh
Coquitlam,
God.
which is pretty near Vancouver City. It's like,
Wow.
oh,
Yeah. I mean, I think it's changed a lot because when I lived out west, it was 94, 93. That was the first year I lived there. Anyway, I was there for many years, but I think it's probably changed. Like, I'm sure bears are coming even more into these towns and cities
mm,
in all this time, right? Due to like what's
yeah,
going on in cities and people and climate and blah, blah, blah.
yeah, it's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So for travels, I've got like a load of questions here, like one-off questions, just like what type of traveler you are, or what you think about certain stuff within travel. So they're quite fun questions to ask, and then obviously we can mix in your experiences around the world. What was the first trip outside of your comfort zones? I guess I'm going with the culture shock thing here. Anything that comes to mind when you landed, or your first few days were a bit of a shock?
Um, I don't remember that when I was younger, to be honest, like even in my 30s, like 20s, 30s. I mean, certainly when we went to Bali when I was a little kid, that was crazy. I was
Yeah,
very, very blonde, and all the women had their hands in my hair constantly giving me chocolate. Okay, so at a young age, that was, yeah. But
yeah.
I would say, recently, I would say, have you done that trip through Bolivia and the salt flats? I'm not going to say that that's
Yes.
culture shock, but
Yeah.
that was like trying for me in that Jeep. Like,
Oh, really?
oh my God, I was very uncomfortable. And so
Ah,
that's not answering your question. That's more of a like discomfort. But that
okay.
drove me crazy. I mean, the scenery was absolutely stunning. I
Mm.
absolutely thought Bolivia is probably the most colorful, beautiful
Oh,
place
unreal. Yeah.
ever. But physically, it was torturous. I was in a terrible, crappy, rundown Jeep
Mm.
with like influencers all around me that were driving me crazy because I was, 48 and they were probably 25. Um, So, but culture shock, I would say like China. I spent a month in China,
Oh,
and
yeah.
there were a few things happening there that because I feel like I'm pretty adaptable and I
Hmm.
can go with the flow. But I would say China stands out for culture shock for me. Jordan was another place that was very different for me, but I absolutely loved it, but quite different in terms of customs and,
Hmm.
going through markets and things like that. Um, Other than that, though, I feel like I can roll with the punches. Nepal, there's
Yeah.
a few things there that
Yeah.
are. I'm most comfortable in like Latin America. That I feel like I'm meant to be in places like that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I would say like Asia is always a bit like, okay, this is different, but I don't know. Doesn't that stuff seems to just like you got to roll with it.
Mm. I reckon
Yeah.
if you in China got out of the main cities like Shanghai or Beijing
Oh
and got into like
God.
the smaller cities or the rural stuff, I reckon that is like going back to the old days.
It
Knowing
was
no English is going to be
tough.
spoken, it's going to be different customs. That everything is going to be different.
Yeah,
I'd
like
like to try it. Yeah.
yep. So that we were in China for a month and we did go to Shanghai and to Beijing, but other than that, we were in some very rural places. And yeah, it's very different. And one night we spent a night in what is called a Tulu. It's a roundhouse in an
Okay.
area of China where the Hakka people live. They're an ethnic minority. So these houses house like 800 people in them, and it's just like a big round house. And
Oh.
in the middle, they have like a shrine and they have animals, and they like live very much as a community. So they grow things, they cook
Wow.
together, they do all these things, right? But like where we stayed in this house, it's very rickety. It's very old. So you're like climbing like 4 flights of stairs because they're like, it's like um, one layer of rooms and then another layer and then another layer, right? Like
Yeah.
a coliseum almost. So we stayed there one night and it was crazy. Like it was us with all these Hakka minority people, and they were very kind, but of course we did not speak the same language.
Hmm.
There was like a lot of charades happening, and they gave us like a bucket to do our business in.
Oh,
There was
wow.
like
Yeah.
one light bulb hanging in the room, a padlock to lock the door, dirty planks and straw and blankets and wood to sleep on. It was crazy. So that was probably the most like out of my comfort I've ever been. And it was a little bit scary, but it was fine. We survived, but it was like talk about, sticking out like a sore thumb with all these people. And they did this, like tourists can come and stay there, but not very
Mm.
many tourists are like taking a bus to the middle of nowhere to go
No.
and spend a night with these people. It was fun.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it
It's
again.
fun.
Once was enough and we couldn't get out of there fast enough the next day. But it's one of those things too where it's like in hindsight, so we went there and there were all these other like Toulouse that you could visit, but this is the one that we stayed in. And we ended up meeting another couple that was there, a British couple. And so it was like, "Oh my God, how did you guys end up here?
Yeah.
Like how do we all end up here?" And so we like had dinner in this very strange restaurant. Like it was barely a town. It was just odd. Like everything about it was odd. And then we went our separate ways because you have to go back to the house, this big house, by like 10 p.m. or else you have nowhere to go. And it's almost
Right.
scarier to not have somewhere to go than that.
Yeah.
But the next day when we woke up, there were like beer bottles everywhere. And like they had a big party there before we had no idea. And I was like, oh, we missed it. We kind of,
Yeah.
who knows what could have happened, and it probably would have been terrifying, but we would have survived it. And it's those things, right, where you're like, oh, like, we missed our moment, but had no idea. But anyway, that was probably the most out of my comfort zone I've ever been.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I haven't asked about jobs or careers. We mentioned earlier about things that to say online, like quit your job and go, which we don't really like too much. But how have you funded your travels in later life? Like, have you got a career that can facilitate travel, or how does that work for you?
So I have done the quit your job thing, and I
Yeah.
don't recommend it. I did it when I was 35, so that's how
Oh,
this
wow.
book came about. So
Yeah.
I, went for it. And at the time, when you're traveling, it's like you can't really think about about what happens next.
Yeah.
So I did it, but coming back was not easy. I was ready to come home, but then putting your life back together is not fun, and you have no money, and what now?
Hmm.
And then everyone's like, "Oh, did you have any epiphanies?" And it's like, I just need a job right now. So since then, I've never ever done that again, and never would.
Yeah.
In 2023, I took a year off. I work at a university. I work at U of T in Toronto.
Hmm.
So I did what is called a 3/4. So for 3 years, I made 2/3 of my salary, and then they put that third away for me so that in the fourth year, I was getting paid every month the money that I wasn't making for the 3 years prior.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a very common thing amongst teachers. I'm from a family of teachers. I'm the only one that
Hmm.
is not a teacher, and I looked into the fine print, and that exists. Most people do a 4/5 because it's less like you're making more money for those years. So I would never recommend what I did, a 3/4, unless you're making
Ah,
a
okay.
whack of money. Is hard to
Yeah.
live on.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I did. So I took a year off in 2023, and so I was making something every month.
Hmm.
And other than that, I just have really good holidays. Like I have a lot of weeks off at U of T, and I try to maximize them or group them around Christmas. Last year I was off for like 6 weeks. So
Hmm.
that's sort of where I'm at right now. Please don't think I don't fantasize about like just walking out the door and, for several months. But this is sort of like, what works in both ways. I have an income and I can go on trips, and it's working at the moment. But I think when you like to have holidays and travel and be adventurous, of course, there's always that fantasy of
Yeah.
constantly being like, who cares? I'm going.
Yeah.
But it's harder as we get older for sure.
Okay. And what type of traveler are you? Are you budget, mid-range, luxury, solo, backpack, tours? I know you mentioned
Um,
some of this before, but
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
hmm.
I would say that more mid-range now, but I will look for some budget if I can. Who doesn't? Like
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
still stay in hostels when I can, but hostels are as expensive as hotels now
Oh, they are
sometimes.
now, aren't they?
Even
Yeah,
a
that's crazy.
dorm, like a six-bedroom dorm there's no savings there.
No.
Um, but I will do it from time to time. I just did it actually in PEI. So yeah, mid-range. I mean, I experienced a lot of luxury back in the day through this partner of mine, and that was pretty cool. I mean, some of these places are phenomenal, but stories are not made in a luxury hotel, let's
Oh,
be
no.
honest. So
No, no.
it's a beautiful place to have a sleep and to be in awe of how the other half lives, but
Yeah.
it's not really my style. I would say as a traveler now, I'm certainly an active traveler. I always look for hiking trips or cycling trips or even a paddling trip if I can find one. I
Hmm.
mean, I'll do pretty much anything. And if it's not, and if it's just like adventure and wandering around, that's fine too. Or, less active. But that is my preference these days. I feel like I sit around a lot, like at a desk job, and I've always been a very, very active person, so I want to do as many things as I can until I can't. When I was in the Dolomites this summer, I was on a group trip there, and most of the people were Australian, and most of them were in their late 60s to early 70s, and they
Oh,
were in
wow.
phenomenal shape. And it was really a message to say, like, keep
Yeah.
moving and don't stop,
Yeah.
because if you stop, it's kind of over, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm at right now for sure. And a
Okay.
little bit of everything. Like, I will do solo trips, but I have a shelf life for that. It's like after 2 weeks, I
Yeah.
I cannot do it. I find it very difficult after a couple of weeks. So I need that. Like, and when I took the year off in 2023, it was a big combo. One time I was away, and I would like go away for a few months and come home and regroup and then go out again.
Hmm.
But if I'm on my own for a week or two, then the next week was like I signed up for a group trip just to like, breathe a little bit. So, yeah.
Is that because hostels are not as sociable these days, you think?
I was never very good at hostels. I mean, I've
Oh,
stayed
okay.
in them, but
Yeah.
I don't love like that walking into a room by yourself and having like 40 people look at you and size you up, and I don't know, it never was great for me. I have met some really nice people in hostels,
Mm.
but I don't know, it was never like I never loved it. I stayed in a hostel a couple years ago in Chile or Argentina, and I was like 48 and people were calling me ma'am and things like that. Just hostel, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know that I've had the same experiences that other people have. I know people have had wild, amazing times in
Mm,
hostels. That's not
yeah.
me. That was never my experience. What about you?
I do love a hostel. Yeah, I will stay in them, but I think it's changed these days. Two
Yeah,
reasons. No, three reasons. The cost is never
yeah,
as good. Even private rooms are really expensive in hostels, so
yeah,
that's a shame. Number
yeah,
two, I think phones have destroyed a lot of the social things, a lot of it, and especially younger generation. I don't know if they're as sociable as my generation.
yeah,
I think that I've got no data to back that up. It feels like that anyway.
yeah,
And thirdly, I think I'm actually a bit of an introvert. So I think what you
yeah,
mentioned there about trying to go into a room and talk, it actually gets a little bit boring sometimes also when you have to
yeah,
repeat yourself, like, oh, where you're from, what you're doing, like where you're going. I love that, but not too much of it. So I
yeah.
think those three things kind of not put me off hostels, but I'm now maybe not as exclusive to hostels, maybe.
I totally feel the same way. And the other thing I feel is like I have a very hard time investing in people on a trip that I'm not going to spend a lot of time with. Like
Mm,
I'll go out for dinner with them. That's fine. But that's where I do like the group stuff because it's like if I'm gonna be with these people for 2 or 3 weeks,
yeah.
I'm all in. I want to know them. I want some of them
Mm.
I'm gonna like, some of them I'm not. But if I'm in a hostel and I'm just like looking for someone to hang out with for a few hours or the night, I would rather go read my book in my bunk bed at 10 p.m. than to like invest in something that is really it's just gonna disappear. Like I just don't have the energy for it.
That's fair enough. I don't mind that. I did that in Czech Republic and Germany for walking tours. Went for a
Mm.
few lunches and a few beers with a few people from them. But yeah, like we were only together for like, I don't know, 4 hours. But yeah, I probably won't see him again. But it's great to hang out with him. I've got him
But
on
I
social
think
media.
though, like when you're doing like a like when you're walking, I think like those people, I'm into those. Like if random
Yeah.
people partying in a hostel, I'm just like,
Oh, no.
no,
No.
thank you. But
Yeah.
just like when you have somebody who's doing something cool like that you're sharing, I do love that. I do love those parts of travel. Like
Mm.
that's why I think I like the hiking and the cycling trips because that's a real experience, right? Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
investing in an experience that no one can relate to back home, and that I find those quite bonding with strangers. Like I really
Hmm.
do. I do love that. I love the lifestyle of like a hiking or a cycling trip where you are
Mm.
um it's a simple life, right? You get up
Yeah.
early, you eat, you pack your bag, you're on the road or on the trail for like what, 6, 7 hours. Somewhere along the way, you've had lunch, have a couple beers at the end of the day, have a shower if you even want to, dinner, done. Just like, I love that lifestyle. It's so simple and you feel so good and you're seeing beautiful things and the people you're with are there because they want to be there. And it's just like that is my happy place for sure.
I don't think it's beaten much by anything else because I think the idea of you're working like you're probably walking, cycling, running, whatever you're doing with a view with a group of people who want to be there, and then you feel like you've worked for your dinner that you're going to have and have a few beers to
Totally.
discuss the day. I don't
Yeah.
think you can beat that. I think that's why
No.
people love doing the Camino so much. I think there's a community aspect to it, and you're seeing something new every day. My friend here has just completed the whole trip from
Mm.
east to west, so I'm
Mm.
seeing her potentially this weekend. I'm like, oh, I'm really keen to understand like what was it like? Because I think she mentioned on social media like one of the days it's just literally get out, pack your bag, walk 10, 15K, and that repeats. And it's very simple, isn't it? Very
Yep.
down to earth, I think.
Heaven. Heaven.
Yeah. Freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And it just feels so good and moving your body like that. And I think like what we were talking about earlier, people will say to me, oh, okay, for example, I did a hike in Turkey with this woman that I'd met through my radio show slash
Hmm.
podcast. We'd never met in person, but we hooked up and did this thing together. And every day, like she's a big time entrepreneur, and every day she'd be like, "Well, what did you think about today? What kind of business ideas did you come up with?" And I'm like, "I don't think about anything. I'm just walking."
Yeah.
Like it's such a natural meditation for me to just like,
Therapeutic. Yeah.
oh my God, yeah, so
Yeah.
good.
I'm a quiet hiker. I like to
Me
just
too.
saunter at the back.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a dream. Okay. And talking about travel shaping us, has it changed your understanding of like vulnerability or connection over the years?
I mean, I think it's the same that everyone says, when you travel, you see that we're all the same people. We all have the same needs to be safe, to have food,
Hmm.
to have clean water. I think that's the beauty of travel. That's the education that travel gives you, and it makes you more tolerant and kind. Although I think that happens to you when you travel and then you come home and you can act like a total jerk, which is
Yeah,
like, you just go
yeah.
back to being that person that takes things for granted. Um, so I think though that that's super important. I think it also I feel like a different person when I'm away. You let go of, we're always stressed out around in our normal lives and our routines and the people that are in our lives, and you go away and it's like is that your authentic self? Maybe it is, or maybe
Mm.
it's just your holiday version. I don't know. But I like that person. And I think that it's important to tap into that person because we all have different personalities for many different parts of our life.
Yeah.
And I think that that's an important one. There's some like freedom in that. And I think too, it does teach you things. I mean, when I'm traveling completely by myself, I'm not the same as when I'm traveling in a group of people that I
Hmm.
feel, that extra level of confidence with, especially as a woman. I mean, pulling into bus stations at night in the dark, which I try to avoid, but you can't always, is like not fun. So you learn, these sorts of things about yourself sometimes. I think those are the transformative moments. And sometimes you don't even know like what's gonna hit you. I remember one day I did the like Cinque Terre there in Italy, when you hike the 5 towns. But there's
Hmm.
also tons of amazing hikes that are not connecting those little villages as well.
Yeah.
But I just remember one day, like I was on my own doing that, and sometimes it just really hits you the power of your freedom and how good that feels. And then like 3 hours later, you can be like, "Oh my God, I'm so lonely. Where's somebody?" But in that moment when you're like, "I'm gonna go eat a chocolate croissant, and now I'm gonna go spontaneously jump in the ocean, and like I can do whatever I want." Those moments are like gold. Like you can't really even explain how that feels to people, and just yeah, that like power of freedom and liking who you are in that moment and being like, wow, I'm with the person I want to be with. That's me. Um I think that's, there's so many things that travel can do for you, and it can change from hour to hour to hour. I mean, what you're thinking, feeling, happy, sad, lonely, content, all of it. It's like a roller coaster, So I don't even remember the question at this point, but that's to me, these are all the things. This is why we do it, and we keep doing it.
I'm convinced that freedom is a massive part, especially for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I accepted that back in the day. I think I maybe knew that being away from the job that I was doing, or have to be somewhere at 9 to 5, or that sort of stuff, was not great. But I think I've
Mm,
actually fully accepted that the next phase of trying to do the next phase of life is freedom. And I
yeah.
think a lot of people don't want to accept it, but I think when you don't have to sign into your laptop nine to
Mm,
five, or be at that appointment, or go to the bed at the same time, there's a certain thrill of not having to do that every day. It is quite a weird thing to describe and feel, but
yeah.
I can only see it as freedom, really, from the norms of social life.
Totally. And you don't have to really care about pleasing anybody
Yes,
and what they want to do. And we should all have that. That there's a freedom in that everyone should experience. It's important. It's healthy.
but no one really experiences that much, really, do they? Not no one, but like a lot of people don't experience it. I guess on a micro level, that probably is their holiday per year, isn't it? I guess that's why, like, British people got the worst reputation for going away, especially in Europe. Like, Brits abroad is horrendous, right? They just go nuts. But I think that's
Some.
yeah, some. But I think that's because they are just away from the normal life of Britain. I think they like realise, oh, there's a bit of freedom here. I can do what I want within reason, and they just go nuts. But actually, if you analyse that, it's probably because they just feel like, oh yeah, I don't have to sign in or go to work or do the life to life thing every day in the UK, which can be a bit stressful or a bit
Well,
sad.
people are, and this is the thing, right? Like our cultures are all we don't have a clue. I mean, when you go to Europe, or South America or wherever that may be, they have such a different perspective on how to live your life.
Yeah.
And I find in Western culture, or certainly in North America, it's just like you have missed the boat here on like enjoying our food and our meal instead of
Yeah.
like how fast can I get this into me so that I can do the next thing on my list. And
Yeah.
just like even in when I was away this summer, we had a couple of guys with us that were like true mountaineers from Italy and from France, and who knew what they wanted in life, and they wanted to be in the mountains, and this was their dream life, and then like created a life around that. Whereas we're like, where can I fit in a mountain experience for 2 weeks this year? Like,
Yeah.
it's just I think that's part of it too, right? When we go away, we're subjected to such a different experience of how to live a life and what we see. And it can make you wild and like, just like abandon everything, and embrace this new life. It's super cool, to see.
Yeah. And do you think you've been in a situation where a different country or culture where it is actually really tempting to like extend your stay, or maybe like, make it longer, or somehow even like sort of rip everything up and just go away and live there for a bit? Like, have you experienced a culture or country where it had that much of a pull on you?
James, I feel like that everywhere I go. I cry the whole way home, no matter what trip it is. So
Okay.
I don't know what that tells you, but yes, um, for sure I do. I mean, certainly not in China. I was ready to get the hell out of there. No offense to China, but it was not for me. Um, but I would say I'm very drawn to yeah, Latin American cultures.
Mm.
Um, Certainly places in Europe. I mean, this summer I was ready to pack up and move to the mountains of France or Italy. Um, I think that's very interesting though. And also Canada has parts in it where I feel very drawn
Yeah.
to. But I think that that's a really interesting question because I've thought about this a lot. Why is it that you can land in a country, you've barely been there for
Yeah.
even seconds, and you feel like you're home and you
Yeah.
belong and you get it. And sure, there's like things you're gonna learn or that you don't understand or whatever, but there's an immediate like, I get this. I feel like this is my place. And then other countries you can go to and you're like, well, this was nice, but this is not for me, and this is not. I'm not attached.
Hmm.
I find that very, very interesting, like how it's just this innate feeling. So who knows what that is all about. I did have a guy on my show who believed in past lives, and this is a far out conversation, but for him, and he was a massive traveler. He was that kind of guy where he would be driving, like he's from Toronto, driving
Yeah.
on the 401, and suddenly something would be like, you must go to India and you must go in 3 days. And he would do it. He'd be like, I have a sign, I have to go to India. And it's like, then I
Okay.
said, okay, so when you got there, did you know why you had to be there? Like, did the
Yeah.
message come clear? And he's like, yes, but I cannot tell you on the radio about what happened. I'm like, oh my God,
Oh.
fascinating. But
Okay.
anyways, yeah, I know. But his belief is that he believes in past lives. So he believes that when you feel like you're very attached, that you live there at another time. And if you don't feel that, then either something terrible happened to you or you just didn't spend enough time there in your past life. So
Oh wow.
something to think about, who knows. But it is interesting why people are drawn to certain places and not others.
And why do you think people like us can't stop?
It's a great question because as I get older, and I'm only 50, like I'm still young. I meet people. I met a guy who was like 85, in Bolivia backpacking from Australia. Like, there's no age
Australians.
limit on travel. Yeah, Australians are nuts.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that it is like. Oh yeah, where I was going with that is sometimes, like as I get older, the night before, or a few days before, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to pack. I
Mm.
don't want to go to the airport. I don't want to sit on a plane. Like, why do I keep doing this? And
Mm.
really start to question it. And then as soon as I get there, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I love this, totally worth it. But I never felt like that when I was younger. I was always like, woohoo, airports, flying, I love all of it. But now I hate all of that. But I still do it. I think we still do it for the things we've been talking about, like that sense of freedom, that sense of like shedding
Hmm.
your regular life behind. I love going by myself, whether it's like, to meet new people in a group or whatever. I don't want to bring my friends. I don't even want to bring my partner half the time. I just want to be like me and like reconnect with like this part of my authenticity that doesn't always come out in my regular life. I love the unknown. I love the fact that like every morning when you're on a trip, you have no idea what's going to happen to you that day.
Hmm.
Even if you have, okay, I've signed up for this or that, or I'm going to go see this, that goes out the window. You don't know what's going to happen. And we don't live like that in regular life, right? That like adventurous curiosity. I love all that. And I also really love meeting people. Like, again, you're not going to love everybody, but I love connecting with people that you would never probably hang out with in your regular life, but you have this commonality of travel or adventure. And so instantly you're kind of connected, right? Like
Yeah.
you will talk to people about things on trips that you would never talk to people
Yeah.
about at home. And how cool is that? You
Yeah.
know, and there's an already like a base there with these people. You don't have to explain yourself. You learn about places that they've been to, but I just think the connections that you make are so interesting and genuine. And why are you meeting this person in this place? Like, why did they cross your path? So for me, that's all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, just to like have a break from your regular life. And I don't know, I think you're adventurous or you're not, and it like is a part of you and it doesn't go away. In fact, I think it gets, I mean, you would know every time you go on a trip, your bucket list gets bigger.
Indeed. Yeah. It's a nightmare.
It's a bit annoying.
Yeah, it is annoying. Well, let's flip the question. Why are some people or a lot of people not interested in it? You know, there's loads of people who don't do this sort of stuff
Well, I
like
think,
regularly. I'm taking holidays out of it because
yeah,
I think that's a short
it's not
period
the
of time. They
same.
just need a break. But like the travel aspect of maybe going for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever, twice a year. I know people can't do it because of holidays and their jobs. I get it, but like, let's just go with the adventure thing. Like, why don't so many people do it?
Because I think they don't want the unknown. I think they want to know
Mm,
exactly what's going to happen to them every day, what they're going to eat, who they're going to see, where they're going to sleep. Like some people just want
wow.
comfort of the familiar, you know? But I don't love that. I mean, sure, at home I too like Netflix and all of these wonderful things, but I don't know. Don't you find if you don't go away, like I'm in a period right now, I just went to PEI that was only for 4 days through
Mm,
work, so not huge. But, you know, at the time it was amazing. I did a lot in that time. But if you don't go away after like 3 or 4 months, you start to get a little bit like
yeah.
cagey
Annoyed.
and annoyed and angry and just like something's off, you know, and it's a very expensive hobby to like
Very.
you know, to satiate that, but but some of us really need it, and I'm that person, and you are obviously too. So, and
It's
thank
the
God that not everyone wants to do it because there's a lot of people that I don't want to see on the road, and thank
yeah,
God they're at home.
yeah, that is true. It's the worst. It's the worst hobby or interest to have on YouTube because it's the most
Oh,
expensive. I was like, oh, just think about gamers. They probably get a game sent to them for free, or they might have to buy it once, which is like $60, $70, and that's it. They can
mm,
ride on that game for 6 months, content about it, and that's it. That's done, right? But travel, I
mhm.
think what I've learned with travel YouTube, and this is a problem. Not so much for the podcast, but for the YouTube, is that I've got enough content in my trip coming up in December, which is nearly a 4 week trip, to last me until Easter
Mm.
ish. Then I'm out. I've got no more content. I'm like, oh God, I've got to go away again. And it's like, well, you can't do that with a normal job, can you? So there's this weird like yin and yang thing with I
Yeah,
like probably earning the money, but like I don't like wasting the time. So it's like, trying to work that out.
I
It's
know.
annoying.
Where are you going?
Going to Australia actually, Brisbane to watch the cricket, and
Oh,
then
nice.
Bhutan for 10 days, and then Bangkok for a weekend.
Oh,
That's my little
wow.
trip.
That's
Yeah.
a good one. Wow, good for you.
Yeah, then back to Canada for Christmas. Yeah.
Very
But you're
good.
right. I never go away in that January, February, March period of a new year because I think I need to crack on with goals and podcasts and stuff. But
Mm,
it's a hard slog. The weather's crap. You're trying
yeah.
to make headway on your goals, but also you're not traveling. It's a tough time of year.
Totally. You can change the rules there, James. You
I
can
know.
you can
Yeah.
make your goals at any time.
That's true. Okay. Is there places around the world, you mentioned about my trip there, I'm going to ask you the same question, anywhere that's on the hit list that you really want to see?
Well, I would also like to see Bhutan, so I
Hmm.
would love to hear about that. I have never been to Africa. I was supposed to go in 2023, and I hurt myself like 3 days before my trip, so
Oh,
I have not figured that one out yet again. So
yeah.
that's a place I've not been. And I've also never been to India. It scares me.
Hmm.
I don't, but I will go, but I
Hardcore.
just, it's hardcore. And for me, places actually, this is going to sound crazy, but maybe you agree. I feel like certainly there are places still on my list that I want to see and things I want to do, but they like a place will choose me. Like all of a sudden, Jordan will be in my head, and it's like, okay, I'm going to
Okay.
Jordan. Do you get that? Like, does that happen to you ever, or are you very like structured into I'm going here and there, everywhere?
No, I think it's based on my interest. I think I mentioned earlier,
Yeah,
I don't want to wander aimlessly anymore. So I think
yeah,
next year, so what do I want to see? What particular type of travel?
right.
Like I want to like paraglide next year. So I'm like, wherever
Uh-huh.
the best place or cluster of places to paraglide is, I want to go and do that. So I don't know where that is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I get that. And like I will certainly every year there will be like whatever is on my list or whatever that I need to do, but there's always this like thing that's like all of a sudden I just feel like something's hit me over the head going, maybe it's like that guy that I interviewed that's like he had to go to
Yeah.
India in 3 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes they choose you, right? These places, but yeah, I don't
I
know.
think they choose me with guests on the podcast. Actually, I mentioned
Mm.
like people can have a big influence on travels and stuff, but I think when I've had guests on who mention a place, I'm like, oh well, yeah. So the last one I can
Mhm.
remember of that is my friend Dave Seminara, who's a journalist. He mentioned Suriname. I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, that's called my name. It's in South America. No one travels there that much. It's
Mhm.
safe. It looks quite out there, and
Mhm.
it's not a big country, so it could be a short trip. That for me be a bit like El Salvador the year before. I'm like, okay, I need to go there. So that's on my
Mhm.
radar. If you like, if I hear a place or even a region, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to check that out.
Ah, that's cool. Very good. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay. And what question have we got here? What about uh sort of favorite hostel or hotel you've stayed in around the world? Have you got like a few?
Mm, no.
No.
I'm not very good at that question. Um, no, I mean to me, like my favorite type of place is probably just like an eco hotel. I quite like
Oh
those, but
yeah.
like a
Yeah.
not like a fancy one. But
Mhm.
yeah, I can stay anywhere as long as I have clean sheets and I feel like no one's going to come in and murder me in the night. Other than that, I'm very good. I mean, I
Hey,
have
yes, that's a
stayed
good
in
start. Yeah.
places. It's a good start, right? It's a low bar. I mean, I have stayed in places where you sleep with one eye open and there's like,
Mm.
it doesn't feel clean and I don't, I'll do it. I don't love it. But no, I like a good old eco hotel with only a few rooms. Like I don't want to see like 80 people, at
Mm.
a hotel. I can't stand that.
Okay. Do you have a favorite type of travel? So where I'm going with this is I love trains. So I love
Oh.
train travel. I love camper van stuff. I love driving in a camper van overland, like classic backpacking, getting buses.
Yeah.
Any particular stuff like that is your favorite type?
I love buses too. It's so funny. I will sit and look out the window for 10 hours if I have to, or 15, and I'm glued the whole time.
Yes,
It's better than
same.
TV. Yep.
Yep,
And what I really don't understand these days is when you're on a bus and you look around and everyone's watching Netflix.
yep.
I actually judge those people, even though I sometimes I know them, but I'm just like, this is like, if you can't be out there, look at all that you can see. Or like, if you're in rural areas, you're seeing life, like people
Mm.
in their communities or animals or just even the geography. I find it fascinating. So I am a sucker for bus travel for sure. People love train travel. I haven't done enough good train travel. Like I did a lot of train travel in Southeast Asia and I found it a little bit excruciating. There's a
Oh,
lot of
okay, yeah,
smoking, a lot of
yeah,
spitting,
yeah.
a lot of discomfort. But the scenery was beautiful, but I felt a little traumatized by like all the things happening around me. So yeah, but I a bus is really my happy place. I absolutely love it. And a lot of people will be like, oh, I hate travel days, where I'm like, I love them.
It's that feeling where you get to go somewhere new. That's what I
What's
love.
that? Oh yeah,
It,
yeah.
when
It's
you go to
exciting.
somewhere new, like, oh yeah, I'm going on a train or a bus. Like, oh yeah, that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
the
think
coolest.
train, I'm going to put it out there, when I was thinking train in my mind, it's not Southeast Asia. I'm thinking Japan on the Shinkansen. I'm thinking China maybe with their bullet trains. I'm thinking
Yes.
Europe
Yes.
and a little bit of North America, not too much because trains don't really exist that much, but that's kind of
Yeah.
where I'm going.
The bullet trains are spectacular, I have to say
Yeah,
that. I mean,
ridiculous.
come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
just mind blowing. Has there been any scams on your travels?
Oh my God, constantly. I mean, sometimes we
What's the
all
worst
fall
one?
for things. What is the worst one? Let's think. I don't know about the worst one, but this one comes to mind. In Cuba, um, we took this moped to the beach one day, and this guy came up to us and spoke very good English and was like, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Toronto." And he was like, "Oh, Toronto, Skydome, and this and that." And then he said he was like, "Oh, I did construction on the Sky. I did this, I did that." He listed a few like well-known places in
Yeah.
Toronto. Then he listed a few others where I was like, "I've never heard of that." And then it's so stupid because then you're like, "Oh, I guess he knows something that I don't about my city." He'd never been there, but he was just like listing off. And the point of the story was that he was like, "Oh, I'll if you give me this amount of money, I'll write you this like little ticket, and I'll look after your moped for you all day long, so that you don't have to worry about parking." Well, of course, he was like taking all the money and leaving, right? But he
Yeah.
was getting everybody by knowing where they were from, and he knew enough about every city that people
Mm,
were traveling from to like do that. So that was one thing that happened to me. But, you know, I mean, we've all fallen for things. That's the only one I
yeah.
can remember at the moment, but it's part of it. And at the end of the day, you're like, he probably needs it more than I do, but it is annoying, isn't it?
It gets annoying. I think there's novelty to it. I think the
Yeah.
first 2 days in certain places, oh yeah, it's quite fun, and then it gets like, oh yeah, it's actually a bit
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah,
This is the
part
thing,
of the
right?
experience.
Yeah. And I think the thing about travel, another part of it is that we trust people more than we probably should, or maybe not. I mean, we trust people in a different way than we do at home. So, like, how many times have you just randomly jumped in the back of a car in various countries? I have done it so
So
many
many times,
times,
yeah,
and I would never do that in not
and drunk
Toronto,
as
not
well.
Canada. Totally drunk, totally like,
uh,
whatever. I'll put my life into the hands of these random people that,
yeah,
I've never met before. It usually works out okay, but
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, there's a certain fun to that too, and like a wildness and a freedom, and it's like anything goes. And we behave in ways that we just don't behave at home, and
yeah.
I don't know.
More
Yeah.
risk taking, which is quite
Yeah,
interesting.
and it's fun. And there's different rules, right? Like,
Yeah,
safety is so different, doing like active things in Central America and in, other places than they are in Canada, where everyone is like, over the top, safety
mm.
conscious. Like, all that stuff is kind of fascinating too, where you're like, oh my God, like, there's no handrails along the edge of this cliff.
I think with experience though, you can see it from a mile off. I nearly got not nearly, actually, I was nowhere near, but I got asked if I spoke English in, where was this, in Munich. And on
Mm.
my YouTube, I forgot I filmed it actually, because I was like filming like this cathedral, right? And my partner Emma always makes me sort of like laugh really. She says, "Oh, you always dismiss like things so quickly or so convincingly." I'm like, if you said something like, "Oh, I don't know, have you watched this film?" Like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that. But I haven't seen it." Right? I make stuff up sometimes. But anyway, this guy who approached me said, "Oh, dressed quite smart. Looks like a businessman almost." Just says, "Oh, can you speak English?" Now, bear in mind, this is happening in a millisecond.
Mm.
And I'm filming just like this cathedral, but he comes out towards the camera and towards me. I'm like, no. But the way I said no, if you know how people say no in English, you're like, oh yeah, he is English. But I've just like told him no in the English way and totally dismissed it and lied to him and just like fobbed it off. But as soon as I saw it, I knew this is not just like a nice thing. There's a scam or there's a question attached to this. And in the
Oh,
in the
totally.
camera, you can see me swerve. I'm like, nah, and I was like, swerve out of the way and carry on
Yeah.
filming.
Yeah.
But I saw him further on meet another guy who didn't look so good. So I think they're
Mm.
working together or whatever. But yeah,
Mm.
just I think with experience you get those vibes. I think.
Yeah, totally. We had a girl come up to us. I mean, this is a very like this was easy, this one where she's like, "Oh, will you buy me a dictionary?" And we're like, "Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen." But like you have to get savvy, right? Because
Yeah,
I mean,
and blunt.
there's yeah, and
Yeah,
blunt and mean sometimes and standoffish. I mean, that's not always fun, but you have to. So you do get smart. Travel does make you, and then sometimes you're like really stupid and you all that goes
yeah,
out the window and you fall for things. But yeah, I have to be a little bit savvy for sure.
yeah. Okay. And my last question before we get on to your book and your podcast as well. If you could relish one more day of travel that you've experienced from past lives or past trips,
Mm.
not actual past life like your mate, which day would it be?
There's so many, you know. I had a really great trip in Nicaragua a very, very long time ago. And I mean it was there I this day was not, you know, it's not going to be anything life-changing that you're about to hear, but sometimes it's the simple things, right? It's like discovering a beach that you didn't expect to have and having a
Mm,
beer like just in the right moment and meeting fun people and I don't know, I think it's just it's little things. It's never like, oh, I climbed this mountain. I mean, I love all of that stuff. But it's the small moments where you're just like taking it in, feeling relaxed, feeling like life is pretty great in this moment. I think those are the moments for me. I spent that time in Colombia laughing hysterically. Like I would go back and do that tomorrow with those people. Just like it's sometimes that it's like I go back to conversations that I've had like on hiking trips with people or having a beer with certain people or the
mm,
feeling at the end of the day of like a cycling trip and just like basking in this glow of like being outside all day with good people, seeing beautiful things. Um, so I don't think I have a particular day. I have moments of days where it's just like life cannot get any better than this moment for me. And it's always about things like that. I mean, yeah. Even sitting on a bus, like we were talking about, like sometimes I've never felt happier than just like being glued to the window on a
mm,
trip, you know?
yeah,
I love that kind of stuff. It's the simple things. It's not
simple
always the
things. Yeah.
things we expect. Like, I think sometimes you see things like I went to the Great Wall of China. That
Hmm.
was pretty impressive, I have to tell you. But there's this thing where we feel like how we're supposed to feel when we do things. It adds pressure to like how you're supposed to experience these monumental things on trips. And, you know, I went to Machu Picchu and I absolutely loved it.
Oh,
But
love
you
that trip for
also
me.
feel this, like, pressure too, right? To, like, feel everything you're supposed to feel, and
Mm,
it's I don't like that sometimes. It's like, I like the moments when you're caught off guard that are simple, when you're just like, "Oh my god, this is the most amazing moment." And it could be, yeah, sitting on a beach, it could be talking to a person, it could be anything. It's like when there's no pressure on yourself to feel something is when I'm happiest.
yeah, I think for me it's an interesting question because a memory of one day is actually quite hard. But I
Yeah.
do know, like Machu Picchu, I did it with a tour. The group was so amazing. We had such a laugh.
Mhm.
So I know that that 4 days, even though the hike was pretty tough for me,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, oh, but I know when we all got to the tent afterwards, after that day, we're all having a laugh. There's some stories and great food and like just a real relaxed atmosphere.
Mhm.
I think that trip and seeing Machu Picchu that morning when we got up to the gates, that was like truly special, like nothing else. And I
Yeah.
know it's special because I know the intense sadness of when we got that train back from Aguas
Yeah.
Calientes back to Cusco. I was like, oh, this is it. And
Yeah.
it's that sombering feeling where we've had the most amazing 4 or 5 days. And like, I don't think I'll see many of these people again because life happens, right? You go back to your real life, and that's been true. It's been such a sad thing, but the most amazing time for a period of time, and like the
Yeah.
best, like the happiest to
Yeah.
sadness. And I was on a bit of a downer after that. I was like, oh, is it gonna get better than that? I'm not sure.
I know it can be very sad to actually say goodbye to these people we meet
Yeah.
because you have such huge experiences with them. They're
Mm.
huge and they stay with you forever. I spent my 50th birthday in Colombia and that was super cool. Like, drinking beer on a canopy overlooking the
Mm.
jungle and like swimming in waterfalls and hiking and things like that. I mean, and yeah, I was with two people I'll never see them again, and I'd met them a week before, and it's like there are no two people I'd rather have done that with than them, and I don't hope
Yeah.
my friends
Yeah.
and family listen to this, but but like, yeah, these are the moments, the unexpected moments are awesome.
And also, that's why I love the Kiwi experience in New Zealand. A bus for 3 weeks with your new
Yeah.
best mates, doing
Yeah.
activities and getting drunk and all that sort of stuff. It's just like, yeah, the best
The
times, isn't
best.
it?
Yeah, totally.
Interesting. The last thing I say about the Great Wall of China, my friend who lived there for 5 years came on the podcast,
Mm. Oh
and
boy.
I asked him for his things to recommend, and he got to the end, and I was like, I've got to address the elephant in the room. You've not mentioned the Great Wall of China, and he went, "Oh yeah, it's cool. It's a wall." I'm like, "Is that all you gotta say? It's cool. It's a wall."
Oh.
Is it? Which
Wow. Did
is,
he
yeah,
did he go more than once? Maybe that's the problem.
I'm not sure. Yeah, man,
I
good
have to
question.
say that I actually really loved the Great Wall. I struggled a lot in China, so
Yeah.
the Great Wall I thought was pretty cool, but it's terrifying because it's falling down in a lot of places. Like where we were, it's like there's no talk about lack of safety. It's
Mm.
like sheer drop off and
Oh,
there's nothing beside you and you will die. Um and the like stone is crumbling, like sometimes crumbling underneath your feet. I was like crawling down parts of it. I was so scared. And they
mm.
are repairing it and fixing it, but that was just like, oh my God. But it's pretty impressive, I have
Yeah,
to say.
I do need to see it. 100%.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to your book. The People You
Okay.
Meet. What's the
Mm.
subtitle? And also tell us a bit about your book. What inspired you to write about it, as a memoir and stuff like that? What really surprised you also about maybe revisiting some of those memories or stories?
Yeah, so it is called The People You Meet, Luxury, Leeches, Love, and Lao Lao with a host of interesting characters in Southeast Asia. It's a bit of a handful,
Yeah.
but that is the title. So it's like what we were talking about earlier. I was on this trip with a partner and I just started creating these emails home about all the things that we were seeing and doing. And then, I mean, that was 15 years ago. So
Hmm.
I was in and out of deciding whether or not to turn it into a book. And then 2 years ago, I decided to go for it. So I edited all the emails and it's a good thing I waited because there's a lot of things we said in 2010 that we cannot say now. So I
Yeah.
would have been canceled very
Yeah.
quickly. So thank God I waited.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a really fun, easy read. You will learn about that part of the world because I will talk about, history, geography, culture,
Hmm.
people, food. But more than anything, it's just very honest. It's very funny. And you will feel like you are traveling with me. That's my tone, is to be very like you're in this with me. So if people don't want to go to that part of the world, I will have done it for them so they can read and experience it through me.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I'm getting, really good feedback. It's a great adventure. It's funny. It's honest. I'm not pulling any punches. And yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And it's fun. And there's a minor love story in there because everyone wants to have that in their life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Needed.
Needed. Yep.
For
Yep.
people, yeah.
Draws people in.
Yeah. And you weave together like encounters on the road. So how do you decide which people or which experiences to include and not, outside of the sort of I don't know, you say it like, things you can't say anymore, but you must have had a load of stories that could have gone in there but you decided to leave out.
To be honest, I only cut out one story that a
Oh,
few
okay.
people were like, you cannot tell anyone about that. And so I took it out. But no, I was pretty honest about exactly what was happening. And it truly was based on these emails. So I didn't, in waiting 15 years, I did not want to change like
Yeah.
I'm 15 years older, but I'm still very similar to that person. But I wanted to be true to like my 35-year-old self. So I really didn't change anything. So it is pretty much exactly how it was in the emails. It's exactly the journey. Yeah. And then I changed the names, of course, not mine, but almost everybody else's. And I met some pretty interesting people along the way there, and there's good stories in there about them. But yeah, it's I really didn't leave much out except for one humdinger of a story.
That's actually quite an interesting concept because I did the 3-month trip in 2013 of Southeast Asia, and there's so many stories from it. I'm like,
Uh,
that's why I did the podcast actually. That's why I started. I need to get these out before I forget. But I do have quite a vivid memory of a lot of them. It's like, oh, I should collate them and write them down. But I guess it's like most people's experience in Southeast Asia for a period of time. So how long was your trip? How long did these
my tr-
emails span?
yeah, mine was 4 months.
Mm.
My partner stayed longer because he was on a mission there, but that was the interesting thing for me is I didn't know how long I would be on the trip, but I
Oh.
knew when it was time to leave, I'd had enough. And that's where I actually learned a little bit about travel fatigue. And I
Hmm.
remember I was traveling with this woman we'd met. She was incredible, probably in her 50s at that time, and
Oh,
has
wow.
done more than anyone I've ever met since,
Hmm.
and was very wise. And I remember we were with her one day, and these two young girls came along with their backpacks. We were in the middle of a small area. I don't know where we were, northern Laos, maybe.
Hmm.
And she looked at them and said, "They need to go home. They're done." I said,
Oh.
What are you talking about?" She said, "They're done. You can tell they've been on the road too long and it's time to go home." And that was the
Huh.
first time I'd ever heard that because
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of ego, right, in travel and
there is.
backpacking, and
Yeah.
I hate that. And nobody ever wants to say, "I'm done," or "It's time to go home," or "I'm going early." There's always this like, I've got to get one more stamp in my passport. I've got to
Mm.
stay out one more month. I've got to, and it's kind of dumb. And so that was what the first time I'd ever heard someone talk like that. And I actually encountered the same thing. So after 4 months, I was, like, done because we were moving quickly, like, every couple
Yeah.
days, we were somewhere new. That was the way you did it things back then. I think things have changed a bit now. But, you stop seeing things, it becomes a job, it becomes like you don't really you're just going through the motions, and I think it is time to pull the plug when that's how you start feeling, because it's not worth being there if you're not fully invested in it anymore. So that's something that I
Hmm.
I learned on that trip and have taken quite seriously since then. And maybe this refers to or circles back to what we were talking about at the beginning as to even why I started writing the emails because I needed a purpose. But yeah, I think when you've hit the fatigue and the exhaustion, some people stay and they like volunteer or they just get a home base and they
Yeah.
regroup. But sometimes it's time to be over. And so I've actually tried to incorporate that into my current life. Like in 2023, I had the year off. So the longest I was ever away was like 8 weeks. And then I'd come home
Hmm.
and regroup and then go out again. And I think for me, that's the best thing, unless I'm like going to be working there or something, where you have a stability and a schedule or something like that. But that was a big lesson for me in like learning what my boundaries are. And it's served me well,
God,
I
that's an
say.
interesting conversation. Fatigue. Yeah,
Yeah.
that trip for me was 6 months in total, but I
Mm.
think it's fresh because we did 3 months in Southeast Asia, then went to New Zealand, which is a completely different vibe change. And
Yeah.
I remember getting on the bus in Auckland from the airport. I was like, oh, he's telling me the cost. He gives me a ticket. There's no barter involved. It was like heaven.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
Yes.
I need this change.
Yes,
um,
totally.
and I was probably done after 5 months. I think in Australia, I did the East Coast. I was running out of money. I had to find a job, but I was done. So I think for me, yeah, it's different for each country and each area, but it's an interesting conversation because 2023 we went for a year, but we had the different types of trips in around
Mhm,
the world, right? Where different experiences, so maybe it keeps it fresh.
mhm,
But I think if you did Southeast Asia for 6 months, I'm like, whew, crikey, that's going to be,
mm.
yeah, it's going to be a heck of a thing to keep going, isn't it?
It is, and yeah, it's funny you say that because I remember one night going, "Can't we just go to Europe?" Like, I am
Yeah.
done. Because it's
Yeah.
true what you say, it does get exhausting when you're constantly getting the runaround, you never feel
Yeah.
clean, you're tired of eating, like, things you don't even know what they are after a while, like, there's a shelf life sometimes, for sure.
It's the repacking of the bag
Yeah.
that
Oh.
just gets to you after a while.
Yeah, it's funny too, right, how things change, like, in the beginning of the trip, you're, like, so
Oh, yeah.
organized, you know where everything is, and by the end, you're like, I don't know, like
I think that first 2 weeks of a trip like that, where it's like, if it's a 3-month trip or a 2-month trip, that first 2 weeks is a magical period. The novelty is there. It's
Yes.
new, you're fresh, you're not as tired, got more
Yeah,
money at that point, probably for your trip. Everything
yeah,
is, for those 2 or 3 weeks, just exquisite. It's a
yeah,
magical time.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's true, like, someone else said that to me because I wrote about this on Instagram once about travel fatigue, and this other traveler was like she goes, "I don't go anywhere anymore longer than 3 weeks." She's like,
Oh,
because
wow.
yeah, and she's done a lot of, like, long haul stuff, but she's like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm done. It's too much, and it's too tiring," and yeah, so, I don't know, I mean, that's the thing, right, about everyone has to find their own boundaries and what works for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And where can people find your book to buy or read it or whatever? Listen to it?
Yeah, my awesome book is on Amazon, so
Yeah.
people can find it there. I mean, if you're in Canada, it's in certain, well, bookstores in Ontario. It hasn't made it out of Ontario yet, but one day. But
Mhm.
yeah, Amazon is the place to go. And you can also, I post quite a bit on Instagram. So my Instagram is fly_travel_media. So
Mhm.
you can see all the things that I've been up to there as well. I have a website too, but I'm very bad at updating it. I just
It's a job.
find that to be a struggle. It is a
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. Well, I'll put the links in the show notes for those. But I also
Thanks.
want to touch on your podcast, Fly Travel Radio. I guess this was
Oh.
born out of like your book, like talk about the travels or meeting people. Like, tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I started that I think around 16 maybe.
Oh, one of the early ones.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2016, 2017. And I haven't done it for a while. Actually, it's on hiatus, but I did it
Right.
for 6 or 7 years. It started
Yeah.
on the radio, so it was a radio show at a community radio station.
Mhm.
And I created it basically because I knew I wasn't going to be traveling for a while because I had no money left after my
Yeah.
trip there in 2015. And it was a really great way to, like, as you know, to meet people, to learn, to be
Mhm.
inspired. But my talks were usually with people who had done some pretty wild stuff. Like there's this guy from Toronto, Mario Rigby, who's like walked literally across Africa for 2.5 years.
Mhm.
Another guy who cycled home from China to Toronto, like through 40 some odd countries. Obviously, there was a plane involved at some point, but just people like that, like people doing some really extreme stuff. There's a woman in England who she's called Women with Altitude, and she traces the paths of women from like the 1800s and 1900s. And I mean, people don't always talk about women, right? It's always about men. So
Oh, yeah.
retraces the steps of some women
Mm.
and who did these monumental trips and hikes, and she wears what they would have worn at that time. So she gets the stuff from wherever she gets it from, but she doesn't wear any modern equipment or any modern clothing
Mm.
and recreates it. So those are the types of people that I would interview. I mean, not everyone was as extreme as that, but that was the type of stuff that I was doing. So it's on hiatus now just because of, writing a book and having a job. You can only do so much.
Yep, tell me about it. Yeah, it's tough
Yeah,
going, isn't it?
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
There's so many people out there who've done wild stuff, isn't there? Like to talk about. And
totally. And
it
people will be
almost
like,
makes you seem like your own travels is not as exciting.
and that's why, like, everyone's like, "Oh, you can talk about whatever." And I'm like, "No, this is not about me. I have
Yeah.
compared to some people, I am like a baby. I've done nothing." So, yeah, there's people out there that are pretty extreme for sure.
Yeah, different levels. Yeah, whether that's
Yeah.
like the amount of countries or the type of travels, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's different levels of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. But as long
Okay.
as people are out there doing it, I think do it however you need to do it. And you don't owe anyone any explanations for the type of traveler that you are.
No, but I think that changes there, doesn't it? I feel like I'm changing as a traveller. I don't know. In this
Yeah.
weird period at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because
I,
we're getting older, James.
I know, but the instinct hasn't changed to go. But I
Yeah.
think, like we discussed near the start, it's about, well, what is the aim? What's the purpose of it? Apart from the
Yes.
usual stuff of meeting people and seeing somewhere new, but like, is there a particular type you want to do or thing you want to achieve?
Yeah.
For example, like I'd love to walk across the country, that sort of thing. I don't know
Yeah.
where, but that's that type of thinking, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Like the days of just like hanging out are not appealing anymore.
Not too much. Yeah, not too much of that. Occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the show notes, I'll put links to the podcast as well, so people can find that and tune in some of the wild guests you've had.
Thank you.
I'm going to finish the episode with a quickfire travel questions feature. So these are like what comes to my mind, really, and they'll probably be random. So let's see how it goes. I'm going to start with, how many countries have you traveled to?
Oh my God. I knew you were gonna ask me and I didn't count them. Um, I don't know, to be honest. I'm gonna say like 65, maybe, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, and the top 3 out of those.
Oh gosh. The top three of those. I really love Jordan. Jordan is magical. I love Colombia. And you know what? I didn't see enough of Bolivia and I will go back, but I just found it to be the most beautiful place I think I've ever seen. So I'm going to throw that in there.
Okay, and top
Yeah.
3 countries you've not been to that are on your hit list.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say the whole continent of Africa. I don't know yet where I'm gonna go there, but I gotta get there. So we'll go by that. Certainly India, because I feel like I have to. Every traveler has to do it, and I just haven't done it yet. Um, and let's see, where else do I need to go? You know what? This is really embarrassing, but I've been to England, but I've never been to Scotland or Ireland or Wales, and I must get to that part of the world. That speaks to me. I know that's not like super exciting, but I need to go there.
Okay, is
Yeah.
there a country that you didn't like, or a place in the country that you didn't like at all?
Yes, China.
You labelling the whole country there, yeah?
China's beautiful. It's extremely beautiful, but it was very challenging. Very
Okay,
challenging. I'll leave it at that.
okay. Are you a sunrise or a sunset person?
Both. I like both. Yeah.
If you had to choose one?
Come on. If I had to choose one, I actually think that I'm more of a sunrise person. I think sunsets are actually a little bit depressing. I think they're beautiful, but it's like it's over, you know?
It's
Whereas
over, it's done,
sunrise,
yeah.
it's like there's hope.
No,
There's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, if tomorrow you could pick one country to live there for a year, where are you going to pick?
Well, um I would really like to live in like France in the Alps, but I'd also love to live in Mexico, so I'm gonna break your rules.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about top 3 favorite cities?
Top Oh, New York is my favorite city in the whole
Hmm.
world. Quebec City is also one of my favorite cities. And I love London. I love London. It's fun. I love London at Christmas time.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
But I don't love cities. As I get older, I don't want to go to a city when I travel. I don't really love that
Mm.
anymore. So, yeah.
Okay, let's go with, if you could sit somewhere for an afternoon with a cup of coffee or glass of wine and just watch the world go by, where are you going to sit?
Ah, that's a good one. Do you know what? When you were away on your Southeast Asian trip, did you sit at do you remember that place in, I think it's Hanoi, where it's like that 3 or 4 section, it's like street section where all the streets come to a point? You must have seen this.
Oh, I've been there twice. I feel like I might have seen it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That place is like fascinating. So I would go there.
Is
It's
that the
just like,
Is that the roundabout
I think so.
where they all
I
come
can't
in to like a chaotic roundabout and they all come from
y-
different directions?
yes, I think so. I
Hmm.
remember sitting there for an afternoon and my partner had to like basically like pull me away. It was, I mean, the most random stuff happening there, fascinating stuff. So I quite like that.
Okay.
I also really like Jordan. I like people watching in Jordan. I love people watching. So, yeah, and Amman, that was pretty cool. I like that a lot.
Okay. Talking to people, if you were to give me a top 3 favorite cultures or people from a country, who are you going to say?
Oh, always like Spanish speaking people are my favorite.
Okay.
Like I love Central America. It's my favorite. I loved Nicaragua. I mean that's another city I would give to you. I forget what is the capital of Nicaragua? I forget at this moment.
Is it Managua?
Oh, maybe, but the other one is more fun with the yellow church. Can't
San
remember.
Jose?
No, that's
No.
Costa Rica.
Oh God.
Doesn't matter. Anywho,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Okay.
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Um, I love Latin American people. I love Central America. I think it's like a big fun circus.
Yeah. A bit wild. Yeah.
It's wild and I love the energy and the people and all of it. So yeah.
Okay. What's your top 3 favorite cuisines?
I love Indian food. I love Mexican food, and I loved the food in Jordan. So Middle Eastern
Mm.
food is like, oh my God. It was very, very good. Yes.
Okay. And last question is, if you could give a few sentences as to why someone should take the leap and travel outside of their comfort zone, what are you going to say?
Um, I would say that you will learn some things about yourself, you will learn some things about others, and that you have to actually have faith in the world around you and the people around you. 90% of the people are very good, 10% maybe not so good. Um, and I think that when you do things like that, it just inspires you to do other things where you need to take a leap. So one leap here can lead to another leap in another part of your life to get you out of, places that you are stuck.
Okay. Melissa, it's been a great chat, very engaging. There's loads more questions I could have asked, but for an hour and a half, I think we got a
Oh,
lot said and
geez.
done.
Yeah, it was lovely speaking to you too. And it's you forget sometimes, right? Like there's so many places that I've been to, but I can't even remember
I know.
them
Yeah.
anymore.
That's why podcast is good. You can just do another episode and think, oh yeah, I didn't talk about that, or
Yeah,
let's do that country, right, or that area of the world. Yeah, there's so many places, right? It's
yeah.
endless content. I feel. Yeah,
Endless content. Yes. Well, thank
yeah.
you so much. I really, really appreciate it. It was a great discussion, and you're a very good interviewer.
Thank you so much, Melissa. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.